So the way that I often talk about this is I write down outcomes, outputs, process, scenario, inputs, and kind of draw an arrow going down from the top. So always starting with outcomes. And I guess in most of our software development practices, product development practices, we know that we need to focus on outcomes. And what we mean by that is what's going to have changed in the world, whose lives will have improved. I like to think about the Daft Punk song. What's the one? Faster, better. How does it go? Faster, better, harder, stronger, something like that. Anyway, so there's always a change. There's always a change. Something's always changing for the better with an outcome. So really trying to get us thinking about what's the real value, what's the real benefit. And what I didn't like about Agile and user stories is that tendency to fall into the template zombie mode, where people are using that as a customer. I need this particular thing in order to whatever, and just using it in a really thoughtless way, often on their own in a silo, writing out this parlance and coming up with something just nonsense and nobody's actually thought of it. So the outcomes part of OOPSI is saying whatever method you use, focus on outcomes. Don't fall into template zombie land. Think about storytelling, going out to customers, understanding the problem properly. Where does it hurt? What are the challenges that you're facing? And really painting a picture. And so when user stories became a thing, it was all about having a conversation. And the reason it was about having a conversation is because when you have a conversation with a customer or client or someone who's having a problem, they're going to tell a story, they're going to paint a picture of the problem, they're going to talk about the interactions with the problem and the gnarly details, and then they're going to talk about what could be better in the world. And that doesn't, for me, fit in just to a user story parlance. So OOPSI is saying, however you want to, make sure you understand the outcome. So use rich storytelling techniques, go properly speak to people, focus on the problem, but understand the outcome. And then if you've got a handful of different outcomes, choose the one that you want to impact as a place to start. So one of the things that I was rambling on about last time is how instead of decomposing and prioritizing solutions, we should be decomposing and prioritizing outcomes and problems and opportunities rather than solution detail. So that's just like start with the outcome. And it could be an epic, it could be a user story that hasn't been explored, it could be an opportunity that's come up from exploring a customer journey map. If you're familiar with impact mapping, which is a fantastic technique for exploring challenges, it could be a how node on an impact map, any sort of starting point where you've done some work to understand the thing that you're trying to change in the world.